How about now? Work now? Thank you for pointing that out. It was working right up until I flipped that page to another thing, but I don't know that. Well, you tell me, because it looks the same as it did before. Man, and I had such an awesome intro, too. Shoot. Ah, thank you for pointing that out. Hooray! All right, so let's say that again. Hello, everybody. Welcome. It's a daytime stream, if you can imagine such a thing. I have today off, which is why I get to do this early in the day instead of late in the evening. And we're going to be working on a package in Sublime Text. Specifically, we're going to be working on the enhanced snippets package, the package that I've been working on for the last few streams in this little new series, Off the Clock, which is more real than ever because I'm actually not on the clock even during work hours at the moment, which allows you to add your own custom variables to snippets to expand them. This was driven by the idea that a lot of people want to have, say, a date expand or other things. And there are ways to do that in snippets, but there's not a way to do it so that you can use tab triggers and inject them. And we're going to extend this a little bit to also allow you as a user to add your own variables, for packages to allow variables, and to maybe even change the snippet format a little bit to make them easier. But we're not going to worry about that at this particular juncture right here. What we are going to do is work on this for at least a good couple of hours. And as is always the rule in streams, whether they're at late night or during the day, if you have questions about what we're doing or anything else, Sublime Text related or not, throw them in that chat, or that chat over there. It's going to be above me once we jump into the stream proper. Can be a question about what we're doing, why we're doing it. It could just be a question about Sublime Text that you have. We can work out an answer together. If I don't have an answer for you, you can see a demonstration live. Or if you just have other questions that I could perhaps answer, like why is pizza so good, or things of that nature, you can ask those questions as well. We're here to hang out and have a good time whilst we work on this package. And now that all of the awfulness of my audio changing devices, but that still seems to be okay. That's wacky. I'm not sure what actually happened there. We good to go. And we'll also point out that normally I do music in streams, but I'm not doing it here because no matter how many times I switch the music player to YouTube saved tracks, they keep claiming that I'm using stuff and I don't want to jeopardize anything. So we're not going to have music in YouTube streams. If you would like to have music in streams, you can follow me on Twitch. There should be a link down in the description. I'm live there Wednesdays and Fridays, also doing the exact same thing as here, just not using Sublime Text, but you can hang out and ask questions there just the same. Oh, it's a loaded question. Why is pizza so good? It's got the carbs, it's got the sauce, it's got the pepperoni, it's got the extra pepperoni, it's got the cheese, it's got the extra cheese, and it's something you can't have, or at least it's something I can't have. And that little bit of naughtiness makes it all the more desirable. Hence, the constant desire. There you go. And yeah, I try to keep the music as low as possible because I don't want it to interfere with anything. Largely, it's there to make sure that OBS continues to give me notifications of things when they happen. But the whole situation is a lot more fraught on YouTube than it is on Twitch. Okay. Let us dive into what we are going to pull off today. For me personally, I can't eat carbs, but I can see why that would also be an issue for that as well. Cool. It played a notification. Is someone following? Hey! I do not get a notification of that here. Tresnick, thank you so much for that follow. Of course, that's a follow on the Twitch channel. I share the same alerts between both of those things here. All right, so for anybody that's new here, because I think we may possibly have a few more new faces than we normally do, based on the fact that I normally stream at night, which is usually because, as you point this out, I don't stream from 8 till late because it sounds fun to say, although it is kind of fun to say. It's because I work a 9-to-5 job as a software developer, and then I come home and I have time with my family, and only in the evenings do I actually have time to do stuff like create videos, do streams, and the like. And I know that doesn't necessarily jive with people outside of my time zone. So where possible, I like to do daytime streams as well. So hello to everybody that's watching that might not normally get a chance to see these streams. It gives you a chance to see what it is that you're missing, such as it is. But what we are working on here is a package that allows you to enhance Sublime, or rather, this is a package that enhances Sublime text snippets, such that you can include new variables that don't otherwise exist in snippets. We have 2 examples of that thus far. The first one is this one named clipboard, which will insert the text from the clipboard when that variable expands. And if there is no text in the clipboard, you get this default text. Secondly, we've included something that is called date, and in this case the optional text, instead of, because there's always going to be a date, there can't never not be a date unless the world has ended, in which case why are you still working on your coding projects? You should probably be out there trying to find bags of rice and shotgun shells. Instead, this becomes the format of the date. Something like thus. Everything else about this snippet still works the same as it otherwise would. It has a tab trigger. It has a description. This is the one from the special snippet, and it exists only in LaTeX documents. So over here in this LaTeX document, if I expand this out, this is the one from the special snippet. We can see that is the clipboard text. The last text I copied into the clipboard was the URL for the chat, because it's different every time. And this is the current date. It's November 14th. November 14th is the date. So this thing totes works. Now, what we want to do here ostensibly is allow for packages other than this package to include these variables. We want to have a way to be able to say you as a user have some variables that you would like to expand out because of the projects you're working on, say the current version of something, or maybe you want to insert the current Git hash or the current Git branch or something that would be useful for you to inject into the files that you're creating, or the code snippets that you're injecting, or whatever else you're using snippets for. But you want to still have tab completion type action in them. So this package allows for that, and right now these two things are coming from inside this package, but instead we want to be able to have other packages, any other package, include its own snippets. So I don't have an example of that off the top of my head, but I could envision that, let's say you're doing something with Unity, and you have some Unity snippets, and there are some aspects of a Unity project that you would like to insert as part of your snippets. I don't use Unity a lot, but say that's a thing that you could do. As a person who creates a Unity package, you could pack in snippets and then say, hey, you know, if you also install the enhanced snippets package, you can get these extra snippets in here in addition to the existing ones, or such like. So that is what we're going to work on today. But first, we need to do a little bit of house cleaning here, because the way that we originally implemented this is that you create a Sublime snippet file, the same as any other snippet that you would create. Say, for example, this one is one that's not special in any way because there are no variables in it that aren't already supported by Sublime. This one is special, if you will, because it has variables in it that Sublime won't expand out. And if you've ever tried this in core Sublime, you know that such a snippet is valid, but when it inserts, it will insert nothing, because when Sublime expands any variables, whether it be in a snippet or in a build system or anywhere else, the value that gets inserted is the current value, the default if there is one specified, or nothing if that variable doesn't exist. And variables that it doesn't know about for its purposes don't exist. So this snippet would work without special magic, but it would just do nothing and be useless. So what the package currently does is look at every snippet in every package, examine them to see, does this snippet contain some text that we perhaps want to insert that is special in some fashion? And if so, we stash that snippet in memory so that we can inject it into the auto-completion system later. We have the ability to watch for when packages become ignored and remove snippets that we've saved in such a manner. Watch for packages to become unignored, which causes us to rescan them to see if maybe the snippets are different because maybe the package just got installed. And if you're editing snippets locally, every time you save a Sublime snippet file, its internal memory representation gets automatically rescanned. Hello, Martin. Welcome. I think that what we want to have here is a little bit of extra juice, because if we said that this was an enhanced Sublime snippet, a few different things will go good for us. One of those things is this. We are loading these snippets and adding them to the auto-completion system. For my testing purposes, I've added that to the list of snippets that should be ignored. If that wasn't there, then when you expand this out, you actually get 3 versions of it. This is the one from the special snippet. This is the one from the snippet as Sublime would execute it, and then this is the other one. There's a distinction there. If you look, this one says snippet enhanced, and those ones say snippet. And this, if you hover on it, says snippet enhanced, whereas those say snippet. But this is confusing because the same thing will appear twice, and you need to make sure you pick the appropriate one, which isn't the greatest thing in the world. So the initial potential plan for this was, what if every time we found such a snippet, we automatically added it to the list of snippets that Sublime ignores? And if we did such a thing, then when you try to fire this up, the one that is ignored, Sublime is telling it to ignore the normal one, but we're manually injecting the special one, so it all sort of works out. This could work. It makes it harder for you to actually have ignored snippets, because we would need to keep a list of what snippets we added there versus what snippets you added there and try to synchronize them. And there were some plans for that, but it's a little fiddly. It's a little dumb. What if we just enhance this by saying that there's a whole new file resource that specifies enhanced snippets? Then we look for only enhanced snippets. We always try to inject them, even if there's nothing special about them. And you don't have to ignore them because Sublime is going to ignore them anyway. Seems like a good way to go. And we could also take this one step further, but we're not going to do it right now, which is, if we were to do such a thing, then these snippets don't actually have to be XML anymore like they are here. They're only here in this format because they're Sublime snippet files, and we don't want Sublime to get cranky about it. But what if this was a YAML file or a plain text file with a little bit of front matter in it that explained what it was? Or what if it was a file format that allowed you to have multiple snippets sharing the same scope with different tab triggers, so that you could have a whole bunch of things in one? Those are all things that would be possible here. And one of the things that people often want out of Sublime is the ability to have a snippet that isn't in this format, or that combines multiple snippets together. So I say what we do is create a new type of resource, which we will call enhanced-sublime-snippet, and we'll only deal with those kinds of things and leave regular snippets alone. And then it'll be very obvious whenever you do something with an enhanced snippet that it is in fact an enhanced snippet, if you will. So to that end, I'm going to remove that from my user preferences and stick that file back over there. So now if we come back into here and we do a little bit of that, we can see there are 3 of them in there, right? Next, this is the new LaTeX document special snippet, and this is the new LaTeX document not special. I'm going to rename this file to new LaTeX document.enhanced Sublime snippet, like so. Let's close and reopen that so we can see. Why is that? Oh, I see. That's interesting. I wasn't expecting to still get syntax highlighting out of that, if I'm perfectly honest. But in any case, now if I do this, there's only 2. It says it's the one from the special snippet. Oh, you know what? I think we may have to here. We're changing the expectations of how this stuff actually works. So this is the I'm not special in any way, and this is the one from the special. Well, let's say this is the one from the enhanced snippet, and this is the one from this one is the normal snippet. How about that? And I said this up front. I'll say it again. If you have any questions about what we're doing here, why we're doing it, how we're doing it, questions about how to create your own packages and plugins, questions about Sublime Text in general, drop them in the chat. Do not worry about derailing. It's entirely the reason why we're here. Now there's only one. This is the normal snippet. The other snippet isn't known. Cool. So that's exactly what we wanted to see there. That special snippet no longer exists. I'm still kind of surprised that I'm getting syntax highlighting out of that. I'm not entirely sure why that's the case. I mean, I know why that's the case, but I did not think that package dev worked that way. This is going to be the package dev syntax for this. it looks like package dev knows when a snippet is a snippet based on the content and not necessarily from the extension, which is interesting. Unless I've done something funky here. I can't imagine I would have. What we're going to do, though, is... let's do this. Let's make their syntax, cd into syntax, and then touch... enhance snippet dot sublime syntax, like so, which is going to make that very unhappy. Hello, Lord Focus. Welcome. Cyberlenka, hello, hello. Doing good so far, and I may have gotten away with something here. My day is off as far as work is concerned, and my phone can't make any noise. So if someone at work has an emergency, there's no way that they can get me on my cell phone. They'll have to phone me on my landline, and I don't answer my landline while I'm streaming. So how are you guys doing? It's kind of weird being streaming on YouTube during the day, but we're having a good time. We're going to want to open that file. Let's say, let's do this. Just to get the magic that we want here. And we're going to want to throw some extra crap in here. The syntax that we're going to use here is going to be... Yeah, I was going to do my normal YouTube stream at night, and then I thought, you know what? I said I was going to do a day stream. Why don't I do a day stream on YouTube during the day? And then there's probably people from all over that would be like, oh, I always want to watch that ODAT nerd guy stream, but it's so late in the day. Well, maybe now is, like I say, it's afternoon. So people can pop in and see what they're missing and then decide that they totally want to stay up super late. Or watch the replays of these bad boys. Enhanced Sublime snippet. I think we're going to want a scope in here. Well, I don't want to have that. 12 a.m. Good grief. What time is it when I normally stream? Finish a few more tasks to look good for the bosses. Come on, man. We're going to do this really quickly. Pardon me. That is text.xml. Oh. It actually loads the XML thing, huh? That's view.settings.get syntax. Packages XML xml.sublime syntax. Okay, so if that was the case, then this would be text.xml, and we want a extends packages xml.sublime syntax. We don't really need any more than that here. So if we did syntax, oh, I guess we want to have a name in here. Pardon me. I suppose. Is it the sort of company that looks for people that work after hours? Because take it from me, that sort of thing can be abused if it goes on too long. I want a name in here. Enhanced snippet. So over here we could say syntax. Pardon me. Well, we don't like that as a syntax, huh? Why not? Really? Oh, whoops. Sorry. Oh, for crimini's sake. There we go. That'll be the business. So we can send snippet. This is an enhanced snippet. You can see it looks slightly different. We open it up. Package dev still snags the snippet format, so that's nice. Cool. Levels are name scope version extensions. Yeah, I like that. So this is a very simple syntax named enhanced snippet, which uses the same scope as the XML package does, because that is the syntax that Sublime, native Sublime, would use for snippets. But we're using package dev, so it apparently automatically picks that up, so that's extra nice. So that's one thing that we need. Usually when you stream, it's 4 a.m. for me. Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs. See, now that's a good work ethic. I like that, Lord Focus. One of the problems that we're having at my company right now is that for the last 20 years or so, it's been a thing where, whoops, there we go. It's been a thing where developers, when they are required, just come after hours and help people with things. And that has caused the data analysts to immediately fall back to asking development to solve problems that they otherwise shouldn't. But we just sort of let that slide. Now, me personally, I'm in a team of 2. There's really nothing any problem that happens with our system is something that is our problem. Only data related things like is something that an analyst could look at. And our stuff only happens, we only support intraday data anyway, so any problems that we have, we're very rarely ever called after hours. That's not the case for the other developers on the other part of the teams. It turns out that the data analysts are actually paid to be on call because it's important that clients get serviced. But because the data analysts are potentially a little bit lazy and allow for whenever they have a problem, they just immediately kick it to development and development shows up, our manager is trying to say stuff like developers should get paid to be on call too because the analysts do. And we're helping the analysts. And the result that came back from the upper management is, well, we've done it this way for 20 years. Why would we change it now? So that's kind of a kick in the balls in that sort of way, right? The flip side, of course, is much like you. If there's stuff that I want to get done, I will get it done. And I don't care if I'm working after hours because the job is more important than that. But having a management that tries to take advantage of that really sours the whole thing. But I like the work ethic of, I want to be a team player. I want to get stuff done sort of thing. All right, so step 1 complete. We now have a new syntax that will allow our magic snippets to do something, but we're not actually trying to load those yet, so that's not going to expand out to squat, right? Okay, which is what we want. Next, we need to find the thing that actually is loading these, and oh, you know what? I'm going to change those around when the time comes. Oh, matter of fact, let's do that here. Do we have any actual keys in here? Well, maybe not here. And we'll leave the command setting. Okay, we'll leave the commands. We'll leave the commands and the settings in the same location. We're going to have to fix some stuff to make that actually work out. But yeah, that file no longer exists at that location. But that'll just sort of make everything be a little bit nicer there, because we may have more menus that we end up using at some point. And we want all these things to sort of look nicer. Yeah, and that's a little bit too long. So we have created a new snippet extension. Now we need to actually make sure that we load that. So we need to find the place in the code that is responsible for loading the snippets, and I'm guessing that would be the snippet manager here. Let's just go ahead and size that down for the time being, because this is a thing that is responsible for loading snippets. They happen as a part of the scan, so all we have to do is say enhanced Sublime snippet. I got a surprise call from them after lunch today. I work directly for two bosses who report directly to the CEO. I thought I was in trouble. You were in trouble, but not in a bad way? That will be enough to actually cause this to work. So now we should, in theory, have seen that. Why did we not? Oh, I wonder. We may need to debug into this a little bit. There's a few things that probably need to change. So let's see. It's going to load it as XML. We don't need to do this because we are totally going to previously we would have ditched out if there weren't any enhancers, but for our purposes we're going to leave that be for the time being. Get the package. We should see it say adding snippet when that actually happens, and we don't, so that's kind of interesting. Oh, you know what? Enhance snippets, refresh snippet cache. It doesn't find anything. That's interesting. Oh, because I gotta reload the package. Sorry. Yeah. Reload the package, and then if we refresh the snippet cache, it found new latex document dot enhanced Sublime snippet, and then when we try to, whoops, let's expand it out, there it is, the one from the enhanced snippet. Boop. And away we go. Cool. Now there's nothing in the clipboard, so we get the default, but that's still the correct date. There's going to be an in-person meeting with a massive client. That's an absolute whale in the aerospace military contracting business. I see why that's trouble, but not in a bad way. Well, I mean, it depends on who wants to lead a meeting. Okay, so that's one thing. We've now modified this so that every time we load snippets, we look for, we look for, when we're scanning for snippets, no matter where we're scanning for them, we look for enhanced Sublime snippet files because those are the only kinds we're going to enhance. For any ones we find, we call load snippet. Load snippet's going to assume they're XML, it's going to load them, it's going to grab out all of the content that we need. It's going to get the list of enhancers, and then it's going to create something. Now, previously, this would return if there were no enhancements because we don't need to enhance a snippet that's doesn't have any special variables in it. It would fall back to the standard. But since we want to always enhance snippets, even if there's nothing special about them, because in the future we can change the file format of these, which allows for you to create snippets in another format, even if you're not using special variables, we're just going to always let that through, like so, and life will be good as far as that's concerned. Now, we're also going to need to tweak this file over here, because if I modify this enhanced Sublime snippet and I save this file, you see nothing exciting happens there. But over here, in our magic here, every time we save something that looks like a snippet, we want to potentially do something with it. So this needs to be enhanced Sublime snippet, and then we reload the package, which means that every time I save this file, you see it discarding that and reloading it to make sure that as we make these changes to these things, they're going to go. It's going to be an in-person meeting with a massive client that's an absolute whale. Oh, right, that's the same thing. Sorry. Whoops. I read it twice. So I think we renamed the snippet file to have a different extension. We look for only that extension. We make sure we always load it. And when events happen, we used to see this. We can actually change that name to say is enhanced snippet instead. Then we will know that this is a snippet that we want to do something with. Everything always gets into. When we query completions, we don't want to include snippets if the person turned that off. We might also want to eventually look for enhanced snippets in the snippet ignore thing to make sure that we skip away any that we don't want, but we'll worry about that in a moment. So that should be the first part of this done, which is we have an enhanced snippet. We even have our own syntax for it. So let's do this. Let's look at content that we have here and say that this untracked key map file and this key map file and this key map file and this menu, and up here this deleted key map file and this deleted key map file and this deleted key map file and this menu are added, so that if we looked at the summary of things that are changing, there's a couple of code changes. There's one untracked file that we haven't done anything with yet, and then all of these files just changed their names, and then we can make a nice commit message like rearrange how the we're going to want to do a little bit of extra magic with that too, because the key map definitions are going to be wrong for editing things. You know what? Let's do one more then. If we're gonna do that, and I want to, because it makes these things a little bit cooler. We're going to make their settings. We're going to make their commands. And we're going to git move the enhanced snippet Sublime settings into settings. And we're going to git move the commands into commands, like so. And then we need to open the menu, because these things are in the wrong place now. The settings are coming from resources settings, and key bindings are coming from key map, like that. So if I said something like enhanced snippets settings, is that not what I called that? Oh wait, that's the menu. Sorry, we haven't done that one yet. Preferences, package settings, enhanced snippets. Are we not going to arrive in here now? Do I not know how the alphabet works? Oh, we're down here. We got reloaded in a weird format. Settings. That is opening enhanced snippets, resources, settings, enhance. It's currently empty, but that's okay. So that works. And preferences, package settings, enhanced snippets, key bindings. Also opens the correct file. So we've fixed both of those. That's handy. We need to do that for the commands as well, so that the key bindings come from key map. And this comes from settings. And then we can say preferences enhanced snippets opens up the appropriate file without complaining. And preferences enhanced snippets key bindings opens the correct file. All right. Want to make sure that we fix that while we're remembering that we changed things. So if we look at the files that have been modified, the commands file was modified and the main menu was modified to use those paths. And then we can say rearrange how the resources, wow, I cannot type today, are laid out. This shifts the files inside of the resources subfolder of the package so that they are files easier to find since many of them have same name and only differ by extension. Okay, now the next thing that we're going to put in here is we have done three things. We've created a very, very simplistic enhanced snippet syntax, which inherits from XML, which will be for anybody that's not using package dev. This is the syntax that will pop up, and we'll test that and make sure that that works in just a moment. Because in core Sublime, regular snippets open as XML files, so this mimics that. When we want to know after somebody saved, is this a snippet? If so, reload it. Reload here is going to cause it to discard any snippet it might know about and then reload the file. So if you create a brand new enhanced snippet anywhere while you're working with Sublime and it's inside of the packages folder, this will make sure that that change takes place right away as you're creating snippets. It makes things more smooth. We even changed the name for it's not just a snippet, it's an enhanced snippet, and we need to make sure that it starts with the packages path and ends with enhanced Sublime snippet, because we only want to worry about enhanced snippets. Everything else we don't care about. And when it comes time to actually load snippets in the snippet manager, we look only for enhanced snippets. This is automatically going to exclude snippet files that exist in ignored packages. For H1, we call load, and previously we would have said, oh, is there no special variables in this? Then we don't need to provide anything special for this. Now we do want to, so we skip that part out, but otherwise everything is the same as it was before. So we're going to commit this and say set up for our own custom enhanced snippet resource. Previous iterations of this package piggybacked on that we write code that so that both versions don't appear in the Ooh, that's awesome. I totally have a single wither skeleton head right now because I haven't found a good place to make a wither skeleton farm. Okay. This change sets us up with the oops, We're going to do that. Now, just to test this, here's what we're going to do. We're going to disable package dev. And now, if I close that file and reopen it, this is just an XML file. Scope name text HTML. Down in the corner of the window, down here, it says it's XML. And here, if I open this, we're getting plain text. Why are we getting plain text? Enhanced dash Sublime dash snippet. Well, that's interesting. Why you no apply? Did I get this wrong? Doesn't look like it. Well, that's an interesting wrinkle that I was not at all inspecting. Maybe I spelled this wrong. How about this? Scratch buffer, prompt for syntax, enhanced snippet. Well, I mean, oh, for Christ's sake. I mean, that really seems like it works. So that's intriguing. What have we done that causes this to not apply to files of that extension? View package file, XML, syntax. Oh, is it because it's a hidden extension? No, that can't be right. I wonder if that's a bug. Oh, maybe I'm just an idiot. Why is that necessary? If it's just that, then it opens as plain text. If it's a hidden syntax, it opens as enhanced snippet or a hidden extension. But I think that makes it hidden such that if you went to view syntax, no, that's still visible, huh? I'm going to have to ask a question about that. What if they're both there? That still opens the way one would like. Here, let's do this. Why does the extension have to be... That's something we're going to have to look more into as we get further down in this thing. We would have to test such a thing in a... Oh, you know what we actually could do? Here's what we're going to do. Good grief, you. We're going to copy that text like this. Now, I need to stash this somewhere because otherwise it's going to go away. So just a second. We do that. We're going to quit. When in doubt, safe mode it out. And here we say we want a new syntax. We can't do that. That would have to be tools developer new syntax. And the code that we put into it is this with a file extension, but not with that. Hit save. We'll call it enhanced snippet.sublime syntax. Oh, whoops. My bad. I forgot those parts. There we go. Okay, now if we go to the terminal and we subl home config sublime text packages user damn, what the hell was that thing called? No. New latex document dot enhanced sublime snippet. It opens up the wrong. That's interesting. In the list of things that aren't supposed to be possible, that's one of them. Okay, let's quit that. Packages. User. And you. That is an intriguingly weird I gather because of that? Good enough. We'll have to look into that in more deets. But for now, yeah, tell me about it. That may also be another bug, but the magic of the Subble command line thing is that it is supposed to talk to the existing running instance or start one if it's not already running. And I betcha it uses the data directory to know. So I bet that if we did Subble safe mode like this, and we get the safe mode thing, if we came back and ran that again, maybe if we add this, it opens the file. So I don't know that that's documented anywhere, but it follows. It's a fun gotcha for suitably loose definitions of fun, I suppose, but you know, that's neither here nor there. Hang on a second, and we want you and you. Boop. There we go. Sorry, there's a little bit of a spammage going on there. All right, so we'll just do that. I'm going to leave that one there just because. Whoops. And then we'll just amend this commit. That's allowing us to make sure that this does what we expect it to do. And then we'll amend that commit. Okay, so that's the first part of this. The next thing is we want to have something in an external package know. We want to know when our package loads, when other packages have extensions to enhancements, so that we can bring those in addition to our own. There's a little something there that happens. I can't remember where. The enhancement manager has these little add jiggies in them. So right here. If we examine where this file is, under enhancements, there's this thing called install enhancements that will get invoked that installs the built-in snippet enhancement classes, which are the date and the clipboard, the ones that this package packs in. Then there would be another call here that goes out to look for enhancements in other packages as well. And we want this to happen when our package loads, so that if other packages have stuff, they'll know. We also need to re-trigger this scan and recreation whenever packages are ignored. But first we need to be able to detect this. So to that end, exactly how do we pull that off is the thing we're going to work out next. And I'm going to say that if we go to the packages directory, and add that folder in. That's not what I meant to do. I usually go inside of it first. Sorry. There we go. So what if there was something inside of this package that allowed it to tell us that there was something fancy going on in here? Now, there's a couple of ways I can think about doing this. One is we're going to need a plugin in there. Import Sublime and import Sublime plugin. As some magic here. And then we want to say from I think this is going to fail. I mean, obviously it's going to fail. The thing that lib exports is lib.enhancements dot enhance snippet base. Okay, lib whoops. We want something like that to happen. And now we're unhappy. In enhanced snippets instead. Oh. Wait, if this isn't here, does that still fail? That's interesting. Can I just do that? How did we break that? Let's say we want you, and we want the enhanced snippets.py file at line 9. Wait, why is that calling reload there? That doesn't make any sense. Now to check the stack trace. When this happens, that explodes. Oh, shit. Right. My bad. Package. That is, in fact, an expected thing to have happen. We want to go into what the hell did I call that? Copy from enhanced snippets.python version. Put that here. Okay. That's kind of what we need to have happening here. So we save that. There we go. That's a more believable error. The enhanced snippets package runs in the 3.8 plugin host. So you can only create enhancements in the 3.8 plugin host, but packages default to Python 3.3 unless you tell them otherwise as a fallback mechanism. Whoops. Okay. Now the real question is, could I do this? No. We would have to bring that back one more level. Do we want to do that? Let's take a look. Import enhanced snippet base. If I did that, and we save that, which causes it to reload everything, then That should theoretically work, but we may need to make sure we clear partially loaded crap out. Still no, huh? Oh, it's got to come from inside of a file. All right. Good enough. You would do that, and then you would implement your own class. So let's do something like that. Hello, Joseph Regal. Not as such, no. But what Sublime Text 4 brings us that Sublime Text 3 didn't have is the ability to create an auto-completion entry in the autocomplete menu, which, when you trigger it, runs a command instead of just inserting text. So, based on that, we can fake out snippets. So the theory is this. We create a snippet that is an enhanced Sublime snippet in this case. We're having inside of it these two new variables. That's the contents of the clipboard, and that's the content of the date. If I copy your message, this is something that's going to apply in LaTeX. And if I go doc and hit this, this is the one for the enhanced snippet, and it inserts your stuff and the date. And it is completely seamless. Previously, this wasn't directly possible in the same sort of way. You would have to try to expand all of the text out at the point where you were adding it to the menu, which could have stuff being stale and the like. So what I'm creating here is a package that allows you or anybody to have enhancements like being able to put the clipboard text or the date in snippets. These are the two that ship with it by default, but what we're working on now is what if you as a user wanted to have something in here? Or what if the person that created the Git package wanted to have expansions in snippets that expand out to the current branch name or something? So you have the ability to do that. So we're just sort of working out the API, if you will, for how to do such a thing. And as an added benefit, not something we're going to be doing right now, but we could make these enhanced snippets be in a nicer file format like YAML or something instead of the XML. We could even make this one snippet file that has many snippets in it as well, which is a couple of things that people have been clamoring for a while because XML is the sad maker, so to speak. Now, I don't remember how I actually did this, to be perfectly honest. That's the base. Yeah. Well, I mean, I asked... This is a conversation that has been had tons of times in the Sublime forum. What... Can we have a different snippet file format? How about alternatives? Ugly nested snippets. What did you have in mind? One of the other things that we have in here potentially, because I have done this in a custom plugin in the past, is having a variable that takes an alternation of possible values, and when it expands out, it shows you a quick little pop-up that lets you pick the one you want from the available options. I don't know how well we can implement that in general, but we can get something like that going. I've done it in the past. I can't remember how, though. I can't find the damn thing. Let's do this. But the main point of this initial work is if we can come up with a way to enhance snippets generally, then we can probably add a whole bunch of stuff in this regard. I gotta look around more on the forum because someone asked this very question, and I'm like, that's not really a thing that you can do in a snippet, but you can detect when next field happens, and as long as you can track what field you are at in the snippet, you can say, well, next field just happened. I used to be in field 1, now I'm in field 2, and pop something up because it's going to select the text when you go there. There are things we can do, but we got to get this main bit out first. But that's another. I think we actually even have that in our list of stuff to noodle around with here. If we look in this, shut up, your swim lanes. This is one we're not going to need anymore. Custom variation on insert snippet command. Insert. Oh, that's a research task, which is this. There's a core issue that allows for snippets with choices. This might be possible since we're invoking our own command, so long as we can accurately detect when the snippet's changing fields and being canceled. The larger concern here is we would need to be able to accurately track this. I've done it in the past. I don't remember exactly how well it worked then. It was vaguely problematic because there used to be, in Sublime Text 3, there was insert best completion that would completely ignore all other commands and immediately inject stuff in, or it might invoke insert snippet to tell you. So there was not a good way to detect when a snippet was actually happening. You could only use it in certain cases, but that's gone now. So that might actually be something that we can deal with in this particular thing. Okay, so that'll work. Let's call this the what? The Lord focus snippet. The variable name shall be focus. And we return from this that the variable named focus should have a value of the Lord of us all, for example. So this is the sort of thing that you would put inside of your own package. Well, as of right now, fortunately, it's not going to do squat because there's no way for the package to actually know that this even exists. But this is sort of the now there could be some iteration on how this actually works as well. But the general contract here, which we could actually see if we were to examine this thing, is you should represent what the name of the variable is that you are expecting to expand out. There's something for this. Given the parse content, return a Boolean indication of whether or not this is a variable. So there's a default here. You can change this so that right now it's doing magic, but you can reply with whether or not this is applicable to any particular snippet because you're going to get the content. Maybe you decide that based on the content of the snippet you want to do something other than in a variable. It's entirely possible. And this gets invoked to say, all right, well, if I was expanding the snippet, what variable names would you like to add to this? So in this case, we're saying that oops, I lost it. We are supporting that variable, and that's the name that goes in there. So this would say that snippets can have a variable named focus, and if they expand, that would pop out. And we could do a little bit of this as well. So the theory is, you would do something like $focus, like this. You could do more with, like figuring out what you want to do with the default, for example. So this might actually even sort of work that way already. What? So if that was there, then when we expand this out, we end up with what in there? Let's put that text in. So we can see that's the clipboard text happening up there. That's the date, and it doesn't know how to do anything with that one. The trick is to actually get this registered into the other thing. And there's currently no way to do that except to hard code it. Because you need to call enhancements add, and enhancements is something that is passed to install enhancements, and install enhancements gets invoked when the enhancement manager is actually created, and the enhancements manager is actually created when the plugin is loaded. So there's nothing that exports this that would allow anything else to call it. But that's okay, because we don't want to call that just at any point. It has to be called after this is done. So this should be responsible for doing it, ostensibly. So my theory on that is we create a new file here, and we call this enhanced snippets, like this, okay? Just as a file that exists. And in here, we are going to say snippet enhancers are equal to Lord focus snippet, like so. As an example of how we want this to work. And let's try to get a simple version of it going first, and then we can spice it up a little bit. But over here in the enhancement manager, this should actually be called install built-in enhancements. So we're going to have to do that, and then in that particular file, which I totally lost track of, it's here, there. That installs all of the enhanced ones. Now we just call this with the name of a class, like this, right? So where is this actually invoked? It is invoked here. And then we could do something like self dot like this. Don't add that because we don't actually care. And we're going to privatize that one. I'm going to go out of my way and not add a comment there that says that that's what that's actually called. But we're going to come down to here. Boop. We're going to def that and do something with it. Specifically, what this is going to do is scan all existing packages to see if they contain any snippet enhancements. Now, it goes without saying that this is going to need to be re-invoked anytime packages go away because they're added to the ignored packages. But fortunately, we've already set up a settings listener that can tell us when that's happening. So here we can put in a, well, can I do a login here? Probably not, huh? Because I'll probably screw myself up with that. For our purposes, we don't actually need one. We'll just print installing external enhancements, like this. Okay, so that's actually looks like it's doing something. Clear the console, reload the package, and we can see it's saying that because it knows it needs to actually do a thing. So now we need to well, let's call this res in Sublime dot find resources, and the resource that we want is enhanced snippets. Now we do that so that it knows the names of all packages where we're going to need to do something magic here. We need to actually grab that. So package is going to be res.split on that, and it's going to be the first item, like this. And you might automatically be saying, is that That's not safe, right? What if you were on Windows? Then the paths are going to be in the other format. Good news, all package resources always use POSIX file separators for this very reason. Anything that wants to do anything with resources would have to be super complicated if it had to know whether or not it was on Windows or Linux or Mac OS so that it could figure out which way those are supposed to go. Now, the next thing is how exactly do we do the thing we want to do, which is Python programmatic import? Because I don't remember off the top of my head exactly how we pull that off. I don't want to import a module. I want to import a... Is it possible to actually pull? I'm assuming it is. Or can I only load a module and then I have to find the appropriate thing? Well, I mean, obviously, at the minimum. Programmatic importing a module should use... Oh, all right. Import a module. The name argument specifies what module to import. Okay. It's never going to be relative. From import lib. So we're going to want something like from import lib, which I could type today, import thus, and then we can print import module, and the module we want to import is package dot plugin, let's say. Ooh, we don't like that. Why, I can't import that? Do you just have to use it bare or something? Or did I? All right, well. Do we like that better, guy? I mean, obviously not, but yeah, okay. Oh, maybe I should be not a dingus about it, huh? How do you import a symbol that way, though, is the question. Oh, actually, just because I'm curious. You have to go to my Twitch chat and do it there, and then it'll trigger here. Maybe. Actually, it might not. I don't think I synced those things yet. I use a different installation of this for Twitch and for YouTube because I don't trust myself to set it properly. Yeah, like if you go to my Twitch channel right now and do a heckle in the chat, it'll appear here. Because that is definitely an overlay that exists here, but I haven't added the dingus source to this. So if you do it, it'll send the command and then nothing will happen. Or my OBS will crash. One of the two. Module object is not subscriptable. All right, well, I mean, that's entirely... Python use import lib to import symbol from module. What works? What did you do? What did you do? For example, watch this. Of course, you have to go to my Twitch channel to click the link in the chat, but, you know, it's kind of a ongoing mechanism. No. No, I totally saw that, but that actually sent a message to my OBS, but this installation of OBS doesn't have the video resources for that, so it doesn't do necessarily what you would like in that particular case. Whoops. Let's go back to there. Okay. The magic is you have to look up the symbol you need using get adder. Ah, all right. Swanko. So we're going to, that's going to be the package. Then we're going to say the module is equal to this. And then we need to say the enhanced list is equal to the module dot. Oh wait, how do we get adder again? We did it the other way. Sorry, that's the thing. Get adder module and shit. What did I call that? Snippet enhancers, like that, and then we can print that and print that and print the module and print the enhanced list. And then we clear the console and reload this, and it blows up in our face. Screw you, pal. Thank you. That's a bug in the other thing, not me. Okay, there's there's the sample extensions, there's the module, there's the class. Did a heckle actually appear here on the screen? I didn't look. So the magic is, for anything that's a standard overlay, like the drop game will work here if you do it in that chat, because at the time that I set up this installation of this portable install of OBS, I duplicated the Twitch one. So all of the overlays that exist there exist here. But the Dingus one and the Magic 8 Ball are directly referring to video resources that this one doesn't know about, because I only added them to the Twitch one. I didn't add them to this one. So technically those work. They trigger the bot code. The bot code talks to OBS and tells it to display that source, and OBS tells it to get bent because it doesn't know about it. But theoretically it would work. And if there was an easier way to cycle those in, we would be there. So here we would need to say for enhancement in enhanced list self dot add enhancement. Okay, so here's where the magic happens. Clear the console. We reload this. It added an enhancement, Lord Focus Snippet. And as a result, everything is broken. That's interesting. Oh, did I implement that incorrectly? Maybe I implemented it incorrectly. Whoops. I wouldn't have thought so. Boy, when you said that snippet was going to break everything, you knew what you were talking about. We did have things in a very... Oh, holy Christ. Well, I mean, that's a little... All right, well, there's an issue, I suppose. There's a couple of issues with that. I kind of expected one of those, but I wasn't expecting it to happen. I was expecting these problems. I wasn't expecting that one to be an issue. So this one is mad because as a part of the enhanced snippets situation here on line 23. Did I forget? I forgot one. Oh, okay. Maybe that one might possibly be. Hang on. Sorry. I forgot this. Okay. That'll solve one of those. The other one works, but only accidentally. It installed that. It added the snippet. Oh, right. The reason why it didn't work previously is, I think, because we didn't tell it needed to reload the snippet. But in any case, no, we don't like that, huh? What could possibly be? Why ye be unhappy about this? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Stop it. Events.py, line 45. Okay. Was I supposed to return back more than one thing there? Maybe that's my problem. Maybe I forgot how this thing is supposed to work. Oh, yeah. Pardon me. That's entirely me being a dipshit. It needs to return the variables and it needs to return the content in case we did something in the content. Teehee. Okay, so we do that. And then there's the one from the enhanced snippet, and Lord Focus is the Lord of us all. So that totally works. There needs to be a little bit more finesse in what's actually happening here, mind you. Which could be a potential issue. If we ponder the ramifications of this particular situation, when the enhancement manager is created, it expects to be able to install all external enhancements by looking for them. All packages should have been loaded by the time this happens. But, so Sublime starts fresh, it loads all of the plugin modules into memory, and then one by one it invokes plugin loaded, and it calls plugin loaded in the order that packages were loaded, which is lexically ordered. So any package that starts with A or B or C or D happens before us. Everything that starts with F or later happens after us. And if a package starts with E, it depends on the sort order. Or it's probably an easier way to say that. That's not generally a problem if the snippets or the enhancements that it's exporting out don't necessarily need to have access to the API. if they needed access to the API, actually that doesn't matter because that's totally a runtime thing. You shouldn't need runtime access to create the classes. So that's a non-issue. So it's perfectly fine that this creates classes, even if one of these things does something that requires the plugin host to be loaded. We know that those can't possibly be invoked until the plugin host is loaded, because the plugin host finishing loading is what causes this thing to be plucked out in the first place. So that part is all good. That's one thing. If we watched for packages to go away, what we need is, for when a package gets added to the list of ignored packages, we need to set a timeout value, and then after that timeout, rescan all of the enhancements. And we want to have that on some sort of a, say, 2-second debounce, or maybe like a 5-second debounce or something like that. Because if more than one well, actually, I guess that's not the case. You definitely want to debounce on that because we don't want to do it too frequently. But anytime any package goes into the list of ignored packages, we need to rescan all of the enhancements in order to update everything the way that we want it to exist. That way, if you uninstall a package, then the variables that it knows about goes away. That probably means that at some level we might need something in the snippet that it looks at variables, and it doesn't, if it doesn't recognize them, it knows that there's a potential problem. But that's a problem that we can sort for another day. And reloading this stuff, if we just go ahead and do this right now, we're going to do this first of all. So it'll install the built-in enhancements, find all of those files, figure out the package, figure out the module. Now, this is a hard-coded thing. This we're going to assume should exist. Does this just return none? Otherwise, attribute error is raised. Oh, for Christ's sake. Okay. That's what that one needs to look for. So let's work out the last little bits of stuff that we need here, and then we can get this thing done. So we can say, actually, we'll call this def scan for enhancements, like this. And this is going to call self.__install enhancements. Actually, well, yeah, because we may want to have a little something there. So we'll call this self.scan for enhancements, like this. Okay. That'll be an attribute that is listed on this so that we can do something with it when the time comes. Scan for all of the possible snippet enhancements. And install them. This includes looking for the, sorry. That are installed as a part of this package. That's what we want to put there. That's going to call this. So this is going to say something like enhancements. And this is going to, oops, to do, this needs to get to, get rid of the, built in, be triggered as a debounced timeout on a package being ignored, and be added to the command palette. The reason for that is that if you had any of these enhancements inside of your user package, the only way to get it to notice them would be to manually trigger a command that tells it to dump everything and relook. But otherwise, it'll automatically happen. As a package is installed, it'll rescan. If a package is ignored, it rescans and this doesn't find those ones, and so on and so forth. We could actually say self.extensions could be empty as a result of this call. Then it'll install them. We can decide later if we want. I kind of want this to have sort of a different print logic, but I don't want to get into that just at the moment. So this is going to get rid of the old list. That's done. Well, actually, you know what? Let's do this instead. Look for new items, including built-in. So, here. Look for all packages that say that they have that advertise enhanced snippet enhancements. Let's say that. Each should have a specific file. Okay, now we're going to actually need to load this bad boy as well. Now, this is currently hard-coded to be package.plugin. We want this to be hard-coded. We don't want that to be hard-coded. So let's do this. Add from package. Like this. And then all of this crap goes in here. Oh, whoops. Well, I mean, I guess not all of it. Kind of need. I don't want to have to do that there. Whoops. Self.add from package. And we're going to pass it the package and the resource. Just to sort of tighten this up a little bit. Because then we don't need you. Try this. Unable to load. enhancements from Nike. Well, I guess that doesn't really matter. Package. We want a little bit of that going on here. So all this stuff comes up here. Those will be logged. That'll be doing stuff. We're going to say that. How much time we got? 8 minutes. Good gravy. Okay, it's loading extensions from sample extensions. Then we have that. Now that should actually be an appropriate log, and maybe we can actually do that. We don't want you, but we want to say from .utils import log, and then we find all the prints, turn them into logs. Scanning for enhancements, installing built-in enhancement classes. That's those ones. Loading extensions from sample extensions, adding enhancement, Lord focus snippet. Cool. That's assuming that it works. Load the resource to see what module we should be importing. And then that's the part we're going to skip out. I'm going to say module name is going to be named snippet enhancements. Attempt to load the module that contains. No, let's do this. Attempt to load the module that contains the enhancements. That's going to be that, and it's not going to be package.plugin. It's going to be package.module name. From the module we loaded, extract the list of snippet enhancers. Whoops. This should always be a list. So in theory, that's going to get mad now because we're not catching module.found error. Is that something we can actually mask? Yes. So let's size you down and then say log module instead of poop. So don't be a dick. Why does that sometimes an error and sometimes not? Oh. Sorry. I meant to do that. Pardon me. Boop. Okay. Module snippet enhancements does not exist. Oh. Right. We need to turn it into that. Let's name that plugin name, and then we can say module name is equal to this. And this becomes plugin name. We can change that in just a second. Okay. Except attribute error log f module name does not export and we come over here. We want that to be sort of hard-coded. The name of the variable that the loaded plugin module should export. Sorry. The loaded enhancement plugin module should export. That way, assuming that that actually worked, module sample extensions dot snippet enhancements does not exist. Cannot load enhancements from it. Okay, but if the enhance plugin was named a little something something here, this. Any module that declares that it has snippet expansions in it must have so that should still end up looking at that. So it's looking, it's installing those, it's loading from there. The module extension snippets dot snippet enhancements doesn't exist. But if this was named plugin, then it would work. And you would see it actually loading that thing. So that's one bit. Now the next thing is, what if this file had a different name, and that was plugin? Then what we should find is it's saying that that module doesn't include. Oh, we're going to be that way, are we? I think we need to do that. Module sample extensions.plugin does not export snippet enhancers, so it can't actually do anything. Now, if that actually was something that existed, but what if it wasn't a list? What if snippet enhancers was just equal to Lord Focus snippet, like this, instead? We want to have one extra thing going on here. We don't need you anymore. It's totally doing that now. That's just a generic error that in case anything else goes awry in there. So that'll trigger the attribute error. And that's the one that we should see happening next. So if we quit and restart. Oh, whoops. Pardon me. Okay. Loading extensions, unable to load enhancements. Type object is not iterable. Because it, oh wait. Oh, right. I forgot to add the code that we were actually going to put in there. Whoopsie doodle. If type, sorry. If not is instance. We can just raise a value error. What if we did module name dot enhance name is not a list. Unable to load enhancements, sample extensions, plugin.snippet enhancers is not a list. Actually, I guess we don't need to say that part. We can just say that. It'll give us a shorter name. I said reload. Snippet enhancers is not a list. So it didn't actually do anything with it. But if it was a list, then it would work. So if that looked like that, and that looked like that, then this would all do what we want. This needs to make sure that it doesn't explode if the so add an import guard. That is something we're going to test in a later thing because I'm already a little over here. But I think that more or less gives us, so what we need to do is parse the dot enhanced snippets file to get the first line. That should be the name of the module. Otherwise, we... And we're going to go back up here and change this to enhanced, snippet enhancers. So we're going to assume just by default that any package that wants to export snippets should have a .enhanced snippets file in it that's empty, have a Python file at the root of the package named snippet enhancers, inside of which there is a list variable named snippet enhancers, which contains the list of classes that should be added to this thing. That's what we're assuming. If you don't want to have it named snippet underscore enhancers, or you don't want it to be in the root of your package, that module, then you can put it anywhere you want in here, but this enhanced snippets file has to have the appropriate name that can be stuck onto the name of your package in order to find that particular module, so the import will work. That is what we're going to work on next, and also these two items here, which is that this call to installed enhancements, or rather not the private one, but scan for enhancements here, should happen as a result of a package being added to the list of ignored packages. If there's a snippet enhancement inside of it, then we should trigger this and say, after 2 seconds, rescan this, because those enhancements might go away. And if another package gets added in the same time, we'll do the same thing. And we've got to play with that timing a little bit, because if a package is being added to the list of ignored packages so that it can be added back, ultimately we want that to be a fast enough operation that something gets into the list of ignored packages, so we're like, oh, we're going to need to rescan that, while we wait, say 2, 3, 5 seconds, whatever that time is. Maybe it's a configurable time. The package gets upgraded and re-added back. The same debounce call will be like, oh, something was added. Eventually the list stabilizes, the timeout happens, and it does a rescan. So if you remove a package and don't do anything, after a few seconds, its enhancements go away. If you remove a package and re-add it, they get rescanned. And if you remove several packages and some of them come back and some of them don't, a scan still happens. That's what we need for that. And then lastly, there needs to be a command that can just enforce this scan for enhancements call that causes it to do it manually, which we would use in the case of the user package. For now, though, that is going to do it for this particular stream. So thanks to everybody who hung out today. And we are going to continue this next week. And I think I'd have to look at an actual calendar. Let's take a quick look here, because I did not pre-prepare this. Because all of December, there's not going to be any YouTube streams. But it looks like we're going to have 2 more streams this month, and then YouTube streams are going to pick up again in January. Because all through the month of December, every single day, I'm going to be streaming live on Twitch. Link down in the thing below, you know how that works, or twitch.tv/odatnerd, because I'm odatnerd everywhere you want to be, where I do the same sort of thing as I do here. We write code, we use Sublime Text. If you have any questions about anything Sublime Text related or not, you can go ahead and throw those in the chat. We have a great time. I'm going to be streaming at least once a day, every single day in the month of December. Possibly some days are going to have more than one stream in them, depending on how work works out. And we'll see how that all goes. But for now, I would like to thank you all for joining. We'll see you in the next one. And until then, please have a sublime week.